Hello everybody and welcome back to Flock Talk. Today we are going to be going over how you can teach your bird to forage. Foraging is very simply the act of searching and scouring the world for your food, which is what a parrot would naturally be doing out in the wild. Obviously their food doesn't get served to them on a silver platter like it does in captivity, so by creating this sort of environment where birds can search and scavenge and forage around for their food, it can create a lot of enrichment, give them a lot of mental activity, keep them busy, keep them active, and all around create a good, positive environment for the bird to be associating with. The more you can get your bird engaging with their environment, the better. The more your bird is able to be independent and have fun, explore their environment, and have a good old time, the less your bird is going to be plucking and participating in other stress-based behaviors. Adding to the fact that foraging is just generally a very enriching and mentally engaging activity, and your bird is going to have a very fun time if you can encourage them to properly forage for their food and treats. Now that being said, just because foraging is a natural behavior, it doesn't mean that your bird is going to be able to do it intuitively on their own accord. Most of the time, birds have to teach one another how to search and forage for their food. Their parents would teach them how to do it. They would follow around with the flock and they would learn and grow as they got older. Birds in captivity don't really get that privilege. However, since many of them do not grow up with their parents or they aren't taught how to do it from a young age, a lot of their food is just handed right to them. They don't ever really have to stop and think and process and try and find their food. So when it comes to showing birds how to forage and encouraging them to play with foraging toys and different events like that, we have to break it down into smaller steps and teach them how it goes. The easiest and most basic way to teach your bird how to forage is to break it down into small approximations. Break down the process of how to search and find treats into as many tiny steps as you can to gradually show your bird that food is hiding and it is beneficial to go searching and exploring for it. There are a wide variety of foraging toys you can choose from. You can make some yourself, you can buy them in stores. There's all sorts of creative ways that you can have your bird searching for your food, and they all have varying levels of difficulty that you can pick and choose depending on your bird's skill level and how they are advancing through learning how to forage. The first and perhaps most simple way to teach your bird to forage is by using a foraging plate. All this is a big plain platform, a bowl, whatever you have on hand that you have filled with some seeds and scattered toy parts on top of. When you are first introducing your bird to this, you may sprinkle seeds on top of all the little parts that you have hidden in there and then show them that the food is there. Since the food is easily visible in this format, the bird should intrinsically go forwards and start to peck and eat all the seeds or pellets or treats, whatever you've got in that little dish, and start exploring and finding their food. As the food tends to slip between those little toy parts, your bird's going to start shifting the pieces out of the way, moving them around, and gradually foraging through the bowl to get what they want. As your bird gets better, you can make this more difficult by adding more toy parts, adding heavier toy parts, making the food not visible, and gradually decreasing how easy it is for them to access the food. The second step I would go to would be finger traps. Finger traps are a very, very common toy part used for foraging. You can get them in dollar stores, you can order them from bird supply stores, you can find them just about anywhere. Finger traps are extremely helpful because there's lots of different ways you can hide things in there, and they are easily breakable, very easy for your bird to destroy and get into, as well as being easy to gradually hide treats more so that way your bird learns to look for them. How you would use a finger trap for foraging is pretty simple. There are two main ways you can use it. You can either stuff treats inside the main tube, or you can tuck larger seeds just into the leaves of the finger trap. For birds who are just starting out, if you are going to stuff it inside the tube, you should leave the tube somewhere where the bird is easily going to see it and have the treat hanging out the end. The easiest treat to use for this is millet because it comes in those nice big ball shapes. You can easily string it through there and leave it hanging out the edge. Let your bird come over, eat a little bit, and then gradually push it deeper into the tube. This will encourage your bird to go searching inside finger traps, take a peek inside, see if they see anything, and then chew through the finger trap to try to actually achieve their goal of getting the seeds that are hiding inside. With the tucking method, the same sort of rules apply. You could take a large sunflower seed or something else that your bird really likes and just lightly tuck it in the weaves. When first introducing it to your bird, make sure that the seed is fully visible and then gradually hide it a little bit more until the seed is fully concealed or just really difficult to get out. Your bird will then start checking out finger traps you've got scattered all around the room. You can start moving them into different places, sticking them in cage bars in different areas of the room, and making it so that way your bird has to explore and bounce around and check out their room in order to find where you have hidden all these finger traps that could potentially potentially have treats hiding in them. The third level of foraging is going to be your cups. So things that are a round base or a solid little bowl-shaped base with a cap or a lid that just sits lightly on top. This is slightly more advanced than the other two because it requires your bird to move a couple pieces or parts in order to actually get the treat that is hiding inside. When first introducing your bird to these things, you tend to take the lid off and just put the treat inside the cup, show your bird where it is, have it hanging over the edge, whatever they need in order to go and check it out and see what's going on. Your bird's going to learn that food is inside these cups. They can associate that good things are going to come when they go check out the cups, and from there you can start to gradually make it a little less visible and start adding the lid. When you first put the lid onto the cup, your bird may not know what to do about it. They might get frustrated, they might give up right away. If this is the case, it means it is too challenging for your bird at this point in time and you need to back it up and show them how to open the lid. The easiest way to do this is usually to tie a tiny knot right before the lid reaches the toy, so that way it actually sits up and is lifted off of the base cup a little bit higher, so your bird can take a peek inside the cup, easily squeeze their head in there and grab the treat out. From there you can lower the lid a little bit more each time, so they're gradually learning to move the lid, peek underneath it, and get inside the cup. The fourth and final main stage of foraging is usually your drawers or your more complicated acrylic-based toys. These are ones that are designed for birds who are really advanced foragers. They understand how to find food and problem solve. They have a variety of experiences searching and finding and figuring out how to get things out. These toys will involve either one or two major different steps in order to open a container and figure out how to get the food inside. There's all sorts of different styles of these toys, ranging from small birds to larger birds. Typically these acrylic-based ones tend to be more oriented towards your larger guys, but there are a couple that can be used for smaller birds as well. Most of them will be drawer-based when they are for these smaller little birds. Teaching your bird to use drawers can be a little tricky depending on the bird, how they think and process, and what their standard style is for problem solving. If your bird already naturally just grabs and thrashes things around to try and figure out how to get them open, then you're going to have a lot of luck with your drawers or your little door opening toys, because the bird's going to go ahead and grab the only little handle that they can and start thrashing it around, and that's going to yield a lot of success in ripping open that drawer and getting the seed that's inside of it. If your bird needs a little bit of help figuring out how to open the drawers, the same rules apply as the ones before. You would want to leave the drawer open, put the seed inside of it, let them check it out, eat a couple seeds, learn that there are seeds inside this little drawer, and then gradually close it each time. Your bird should start figuring out that they can just wiggle it a little bit, pull open the drawer a small bit, and get the treat that's sitting inside of it. However, if your bird is still really struggling, you may need to use a little bit more training to figure out how to get them to open the door. With this, I would utilize the same methods you would use with target training and just reinforce the bird every time they orient their beak towards the drawer's handle. Anytime they look at it, click, give them a treat. Anytime they put their beak on it, click, give them a treat. They're going to start figuring out that they have to touch the handle, they have to move the handle in order to earn a reward. Eventually they'll be able to pull it open, they'll start adding some pressure, trying things out until the drawer opens, and they'll start reinforcing themselves by achieving the treat that's inside, and you can phase out your training altogether. The bird's going to start opening drawers and reinforcing the behavior themselves. There are so many fantastic foraging toys out there on the market, almost any toy that you can have for your bird. I'm sure there are at least 3 different ones in your bird's cage right now that you could modify to hide treats and create a little bit more variety and enrichment in their everyday lives. Foraging is an absolutely wonderful tool, not only for keeping birds occupied and self-reinforcing being alone and spending time by themselves, but also teaching them to engage with their environments, play with toys, as well as keeping their beaks nice and trimmed as they are chewing away at all these different toys. Lots of birds really struggle with learning how to play and engage with toys when you first bring them home, so foraging is an excellent way to help teach them how to do that. People use foraging for all sorts of different things. I personally mostly use it just for treats that I hide around the room, but there are lots of folks who will actually incorporate their regular everyday pelleted meals into foraging-based activities. This way the birds would be constantly exploring their environment, searching for their meals, and having a lot of motivation to do so. If you are going to start hiding your birds' actual meals, I would make sure they are fully confident in their foraging capacity, that you are weighing your birds regularly to make sure they are eating as much as they are supposed to, that they aren't getting stumped and leaving pellets behind, not eating as much as they should for the day. You really want to make sure that you are gradually converting them over to that system. It's not one that I tend to use all that often just because there is so much risk with birds not being able to find certain things or just really struggling. However, that doesn't mean you couldn't hide a portion of it and just double check that your bird is getting as much food as they are supposed to be getting. In either regard, I hope that this has helped you guys out. I know it is a big struggle for a lot of birds to teach them how to explore with their environments, have fun with their toys, and actually properly forage. It can be quite tricky to teach them how to find things and how to search for things, but the more you start incorporating treats into their toys and getting them to explore and engage with their environment, the more eager they're going to be to hop around and spend time on their own figuring out where things are hidden. It is an absolutely wonderful tool in alleviating a lot of stress and anxiety when it comes to pet parrots, so I do absolutely encourage you all to at least give it a try, see how your bird does, and let me know. But that's going to do it for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!